Hey everybody, Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you from the Sean McVay studio deep in the bowels of the Winners and Whiners Sports and Entertainment Complex to bring you today's Super Bowl 53 preview as we take a look at the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. I'll remind you, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you're checking out our videos and they're helping you out. You're getting a little bit out of them. Give us a little subscribe. That really helps us keep them going as well. Don't forget to give us your comments, what you're playing, if you're liking the picks, if you're hating the picks, if they match up with what you're playing, and if not, tell us what you're playing on this game and some of the other contests going on as well. And of course, lastly, don't forget to get registered for the big drawing that's going to take place an hour after the Super Bowl has completed there on Sunday. Get yourself over to winnersandwhiners.com, statsalt.com, and check out any of the previews, any of the articles, and you'll find the link on those pages about halfway down to get yourself registered for the big drawing. And $500 first prize, by the way. That's not nothing, as the kids say. And then some pretty cool Winners and Whiners swag for places 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So check that out. While you're there, check out the websites for all of our deep dives into not just the Super Bowl, but into every sporting event going on in America every single day that you can place a bet on. If you can bet on it, you can bet we're writing about it over at winnersandwhiners.com, statsalt.com. Not just sides, not just totals, but halftime bets, derivatives, as well as the occasional prop bet thrown in there for your enjoyment as well. So check those out, won't you? All right, everybody, well, let's get to it. We've got one more NFL game, and here it is. The New England Patriots travel to Atlanta to take on the Los Angeles Rams in Super Bowl LIII. Rams are 2.5-point favorites, and as we record this on Thursday, the total currently stands at 56.5. Tail of the tape, it goes a little something like this. The New England Patriots are 13-5 straight up on the season, 11-7 against the number, and the over has cashed 7 times in their 18 contests. The LA Rams, on the other hand, 15-3 straight up, 9-7-2 against the spread, and the over is 8-9-1 in their 18 games. You know, much has been made about the offenses of not just these two teams, but your Final Four contenders. They were number 1 through 4 in points scored throughout the season. Well, we've lost number 1 in the Kansas City Chiefs, and we've lost number 3 in the New Orleans Saints. So we still have number 2 and number 4. Rams are number 2, Pats are number 4. So the question is, how do these teams do when they match up against other top 10 offenses? Well, for the season, the Pats did it 6 times. They won 5 of those contests straight up. They covered 4 times, and the over was 5-1 against those other offensive juggernauts. The Rams, on the other hand, they played a top 10 offensive scoring team 7 times. They ended up 5-2 straight up, just 2-4-1 against the number, and the over cashed 5 times in those 7 games. So, what does that tell us? Well, number 1, it tells us that being high-scoring teams, neither of these teams is afraid to get in a shootout. What I also want to look at is how did they do when they played a top 10 offense that went along with the top 10 defense? Well, that's what the New England Patriots are. They have the number 4 offense, as we discussed. They also have the number 7 scoring defense. One time this year, each of these teams played a top 10 offense that also happened to be a top 10 defense. Oddly enough, it was the same team. It was the Chicago Bears. They both played in Chicago, and they had very different outcomes. The Rams, they had their season low output of the season, putting up just 6 points against the stingy Bears defense, while the Pats gashed the Monsters of the Midway for 38 points there at Soldier Field. That is the most points the Bears gave up this year, one of only 2 games. They gave up more than 30, and it's 16 more than they gave up at home to any other team. So Patriots did quite well against a good offense and a good defense. The Rams' rushing defense, we've talked a little bit about that in our previous videos. During the season, it was absolutely dreadful. It was worst in the NFL, giving up a number 32, 32nd ranked, 5.1 yards per carry in the regular season. However, they've really stepped up their game in the postseason. They've gone up against Ezekiel Elliott. They've gone up against Kamara and Ingram for the Saints, and they've given up just 2.3 yards per carry in the postseason. And that covers 43 carries there between the two games. For me, the wild card in this game is Todd Gurley, and not just for the obvious reasons about whether he's healthy and whether he can run the ball. We are curious to see. Excuse me. We are curious to see exactly which Todd Gurley is going to show up. Now, is it going to be the divisional Todd Gurley that showed up and had 10 carries for 115 yards, or is it going to be the Todd Gurley that showed up last week, was kept off the field most of the day, and had ended up with just 10 yards on 4 carries? Is he healthy? You know what? I don't know. Everybody says yes. Sean Payton says yes. Gurley says yes. But are you telling me that the reigning offensive player of the year can no longer get on the field because now all of a sudden they have C.J. Anderson, a retread from Denver that couldn't stick on 2 other squads this year? That's the guy that's going to supplant Gurley here. I'm just not buying it. In the playoffs, they've just about split the snaps evenly. Gurley's had 75 snaps, and Anderson has had 70. The problem is, a lot of those times that Gurley's been in there, he's been nothing but a decoy. Versus the Saints, like I said, he had just 4 carries for 10 yards. But Gurley, it's not just what he can do as far as carrying the ball. Whether he's in there or not affects what personnel the Rams actually put out there. I'll give you an example. For 90% of the plays in weeks 1 through 15, the Rams used 11 personnel, which is to say 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. They ran that 9 out of 10 times. Once C.J. Anderson came on the scene, started getting carries, starting with week 16, that number was down from 90% to about 69%. The rest of the time, they were running 12 personnel, which is 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and 2 wide receivers. So, in fact, last week against the Saints, they ran the 12 personnel on 17 plays, which, to put a little perspective on that, that's the same number of plays they ran 12 personnel during the regular seasons in weeks 1 through 15. So it makes a difference as far as what personnel grouping goes out there. And, of course, when you send out different personnel groupings, it makes a difference as far as what plays you're going to see called. The other thing about Gurley that he does for the offense is he really gives an extra dimension to the play-action pass, all right? With C.J. Anderson, they still run play-action. However, he's more of a traditional between-the-tackles power runner, and therefore, when they run play-action to him, they're going to run play-action into the middle, and it's going to limit where Goff is going to throw the ball. It's going to basically keep you between the hash marks as far as where you're going to be looking to throw off of that play-action. However, when Gurley's in there, what they like to do is they like to flow everybody to one side, and they tend to be left-handed, the Rams do when they run. So they tend to flow everybody left, and then they'll fake to Gurley on a play action, either left off tackle or outside zone, and then roll Goff back against the grain as he rolls right, and usually looks to hit someone on a skinny post or on a shallow cross. They're splitting the zone. So that's what Gurley does. He adds a couple different dimensions to the Rams besides just the obvious ability that he has to run the ball. The other thing is, talking about the Pats defense, the Chiefs absolutely gashed the Patriots with their running backs out of the backfield catching passes. They did it in the regular season with Kareem Hunt, and they did it last week with Williams, and they had him open a couple times, and Mahomes actually just didn't get the ball to him, especially on the wheel route. They are especially vulnerable to that. Now, bad news for the Rams. While Gurley caught 59 passes this year for 580 yards, he hasn't really been much of a factor in the passing game since about the middle to the end of October. So as he's kind of been more banged up, he's become less effective in the passing game, and that's going to make a big difference. The last thing that I'm looking at here, well, there's two things. The Rams, the defense tends to be a little bit over aggressive, and they tend to bite on play action. They are last in the NFL versus play action. All right. On the other side of the coin, Brady, very, very good at play action. They're third in the NFL in attempts off of play action, and they're third in QBR rating or QBR off of play action as well. That looks like a bad matchup for the Rams. The last thing I'll talk about, everybody's kind of, especially the Saints fans, maybe a little pissed at Roby Coleman for getting away with the defensive pass interference last week. I think he may get his comeuppance this week. I really do. He's probably going to be matched up against Edelman in the slot. Edelman spends about 80-90% of his time running out of the slot, and that's going to be Roby Coleman's responsibility. That is not going to be a good matchup for the Rams. I think that the Patriots are going to be able to exploit that. I'm still not sure Gronk's healthy. He's winning his one-on-one matchups, but he's not going to be that big threat to get free and go for long yardage over the middle. So I think his effectiveness is going to be limited. To me, this is going to come down to Edelman in the slot. And, here's a shocker. I think Tom Brady and Edelman are going to have some success. Not exactly earth-shaking handicapping right there, but it's what they do. It's that time of year, and this sets up perfectly for that opportunity. So what I'm going to do as far as this game, the bet that I really like, I like the total. It's kind of settled in there at 56.5. I like the total over in this contest. I think that these guys are not. I think they'll be good looking to pass first. Could be some running early, but I think ultimately once this game settles into its rhythm, there's going to be a lot of passing. I think they're going to go up and down the field. Both these teams have done it all year round. No reason to think it's going to stop here. My other bet that I'm not quite as confident in, but I'll still back it, is the Patriots minus the 2.5. I know we're going square on the Super Bowl, but I just think it's a matchup problem for New England with Los Angeles here. I'm not convinced Gurley is well. If Gurley was Gurley that he was last year, or at least the first part of this year, I might have a different opinion. But as it is, I still don't think he's 100%. I don't think the Rams, leaning on C.J. Anderson, are going to have enough to beat the Patriots. Give me New England minus the 2.5. Give me the over 56.5. Get yourself down on those two picks. At the end of this contest, 4 hours after it starts, you can join me as we head back to the window. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching all of our NFL stuff this year. We appreciate it. Good luck in this last and final game. Have a blast, everybody. Be safe. Bye-bye.